Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you can play a song by Black Sabbath called Iron Man. And it starts out with a really cool intro lick where, and this is kind of a dumb Munson trick because there's a lot of ways to do this actually, some of them being injurious to your guitar. This one you might want to watch out for too because I've broken a nut doing this before, but if you take your index finger and kind of press down on your E string behind the nut and kind of play the E string, and then let it kind of come back to regular. So it's almost like a bend trick behind the nut. And we're going to end up doing that 3 times for our intro. So it's kind of press in and play it, let it come down. And then from there is like one of the most famous rock licks of all time. And we're going to start with first finger. And actually we're going to try this whole thing with first finger actually so that we can kind of add in power chord shapes later. So we're going to take first finger and play low E string on the 7th fret. And then we're going to play A string on the 5th fret, and then we're going to play A string on the 5th fret and slide it to 7, and then play the 7 again. And then we're going to go to 10th fret on the A string and kind of do a slide back to 9, 1, 2, 3 times. So I'm kind of playing 10, keeping enough pressure to keep the sound going to 9, 1, 2, 3 times. So I know that's kind of weird. 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, it all is a slide. And then you go back to 5th fret on the A string, and then we're going to play that one more time and do a slide to 7th fret on the A string, and then play 7 on the A again. So you got 7 on the low E for a B note, 5th on the A string for a D note, and then we play the D and kind of slide to E on the 7th fret, and then we go to 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, all as a slide, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, playing G's and F sharps. And then we go back to D on the A string, or 5th fret on the A string, and then kind of play the slide back to 7. So all together you're playing B, and then a D, and then a D, and then G, F sharps, D, D, E, E. So anyway, that would be one way to kind of play that lick. Now what can really thicken that up is to add some things called power chords. And what a power chord is where you're playing the root and the 5th of the chord. So on the B note that we're starting on, if you counted up 5 letter names on your hand, B, C, D, E, F, and actually in this particular case it's an F sharp. And the way you play that is we're going to take the 3rd finger and kind of add it to that note on the A string on the 9th fret. And now if you play just the E and the A string together, that's called a B5 power chord. And so it sounds really powerful because we're playing just the root and the 5th of the chord. And then we can kind of actually take that idea and that shape and then apply it to the entire lick. So we'd be playing a B5 power chord, but then instead of playing just the D note on the A string 5th fret, you'd be taking 3rd finger to add the 7th fret on the G to it and playing just those 2 notes, and that's called D5. And then from the D5, if you slide that shape over to 7 and 9, then that's an E5 power chord where we're playing 7 on the A string and then 9 on the D string. And then if you go all the way up and take that shape and slide it all the way to 10 and 12, now you've got 10th fret on the A string and then 12th fret on the D string. That's a way to play a G5 power chord, and you could kind of keep both fingers down and try and do that slide from the G to the F sharp 5. Is what we would kind of be doing, is taking that shape and applying it to that whole slide lick. And then we go back to the D and then play the D5 again and slide it to E5. So all together you got B5, D5, D5 slide to E5, G, F sharp 5s, D, D, E. It's kind of that opening lick, which becomes our verse actually. So then when the verse starts, actually you keep that lick going. Now if we wanted to, we could take that idea though of the lick and then apply like what chords would actually be implied by that lick. So if you wanted to folkify this, like if you're more of like a chord kind of guitar player and don't want to kind of stick with the licks, or if you're looking for an easy way to sing along with it, and this kind of sounds kind of weird, but I think it's also kind of cool to be aware of like what chords are going on or are implied by the power chords. So you would actually start on a B minor chord if you were doing the regular chords. And when you play B minor, and there's easy ways to do this too, but you take first finger and go across the entire 2nd fret. 2nd finger goes to the B string on the 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the D string on the 4th fret, and the pinky on the G string on the 4th fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a B minor chord. And now if you're just starting out or you want to avoid the bar chords there, you can take the top part of bar chords and make smaller versions. So if you took the first finger and played the high E string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the B string on the 3rd fret, and 3rd finger on the G string on the 4th fret, and strummed the top 3 or the top 4 strings, that's another way to play B minor. And if you're a little bit more adventurous, you could take the 3rd finger and go to the D string on the 4th fret, and then pinky on the G string on the 4th fret, and kind of make it a little bit thicker B minor too. So that's another possibility there too. And then, so that's what our B5 is actually kind of implying. Our D5 is kind of implying a D major chord, and when we play D major, first finger is going to go to the G string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the high E on the 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the B string on the 3rd fret, and if you strum the top 4 strings, that sounds a D major chord. So we got B minor, D major, and then we're kind of doing the D major again, but then the E5 is kind of implying the E minor chord, and when you play E minor, first finger is going to the A string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the D string on the 2nd fret, and if you strum all those together, that sounds like E minor chord. And then when we go to that G F sharp slide, it's kind of implying a G major chord. And the way you play G major, first finger is going to go on the A string 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the low E string on the 3rd fret, and 3rd finger on the high E on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord. It sounds really, really happy. And then from the G major chord and the lick, we'd be going back to the D major and then the E minor, and then we kind of end up on the E minor. So if you're going to chord that, it would be kind of weird to have B minor, D, E minor, G F sharp, D, E minor. So that would be a little weird. Now, if you wanted to make it a really, really easy version, you could leave out a couple of those chords. So if you wanted to, you could do the B minor. Has he lost his mind? Can he see, or is he blind? Just kind of doing just the B minor chord. And if you wanted to, you could even apply a strum pattern to that, and this is really cheesy. But one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, up, down, up. But if you tried that, you'd have down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. So since the B note gets played first, it has more weight, if that makes sense. So you can almost get away for your verses just to strum a B minor chord and sing over the top of it. So one way to kind of scale it down, actually, is you could take that strum pattern and work it through kind of some of the implied chords. So you can start on the B minor, has he, and then D major, and then G major, E minor, and kind of make a 4-bar phrase out of it, kind of that way. So if we tried it that way with the down, down, up, down, up, you'd have B minor, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, B minor, down. Another way you could kind of approach your verse if you wanted to make it a strum thing. But if you kind of work around the lick, though, most people are going to recognize that. So you might want to like kick it off with the lick. And then if you're going to sing it, you may want to go over the chords. Has he, D major, G major, E minor. You know, because sometimes it kind of depends on whether you're trying to cover it solo or whether you've got a band behind you. You know, you want to be able to kind of swing both ways. But then from there we keep that verse lick going until we get to something I call the random B lick, which happens in a couple places, where it's kind of it starts off with some of the notes that we did in the main lick for our verse, but it kind of does some other cool Tony Iommi stuff on it. So you start on the low E on the 7th fret, and then we play that again, and then we go 5th fret on the A string but do a bend on it, and then we go back to 7th fret on the low E, and then we play 6th on the low E, and then we play 5th fret on the low E string 3 times, and then we go open E, and then 4th fret on the low E, and then 5th fret on the low E, and then 6th fret on the low E, to kind of lead back to the 7 to start it over. So you got 7, 7, 5 bend, 7, 6, 5, 5, 5, 4, 5, 6, which kind of gets repeated. And if you're a little bit more adventurous, you could actually try adding in the power chord shapes on that. So you'd have B5, D5, B5, B flat 5, A5, E, and D sharp 5, A5, A sharp 5, to kind of lead you back to the B. So you could kind of thicken it up there too. And the last time on that lick is the coolest psych out of all time, where you've got that B, 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 B flat, A, and then you can just kind of stop. and then you end up going back to your verse progression there and to kind of continue the verses. And then we basically keep that going until we hit our chorus. And on our chorus part, we actually kind of hit an E5 power chord for the da 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 da, and then we go to D5, da 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 da, and then there's a really cool lick that happens right after that. It's one of my favorite licks through the tune, where you play the B5 power chord twice, and then we go 5th fret on the A string, and then go 6th fret on the A string, and then 7th fret on the A string, and then we go to 7th on the A, and then 8th fret on the A, and then 9th fret on the A, and then we go to the D string and go 7, 8, 9. So it's kind of this first finger, second finger, third finger coolness, where you got B5 to kick it off, and then you're going 5th fret on the A for 1, 2, 3, and then 7 on the A for 1, 2, 3, and then D string on the 7 for 1, 2, 3. But the note you're actually playing is you're going B, B, D, D sharp, E, E, F, F sharp, A sharp, B, 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 D, D sharp, E, E, F, F sharp, A sharp, B, which is kind of a cool lick to kind of add in. When we get to that random B lick, we're going to end up playing that twice, and then we'll be going back to our E5 power chord right after that, like 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, E5, D5, and then we're back to our B5 for that coolness again for our chorus B lick. And then we're basically repeating that, going back to our verse, and then we come back to our chorus again. So all those licks kind of get repeated. Now, if you wanted to in the chorus though, since we were talking about the chorus, you could use those same chords to kind of work a folkier version of that. So if you had the E minor, that would be kind of what the E5 power chord's implying. D major is what the D5 power chord's implying. And then the B licks are kind of implying the B minor chord. So if you wanted to, you could do that down, down, up, down, up through it, where you'd have E minor, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, B, down, down, up, down, B, down, down, up, down, B minor, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, B, down, down, B, down, 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 B minor, down, 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 and then there's something I call the breakdown lick that happens right after that kind of takes you into the first solo. And the breakdown lick kind of starts on the D string 11, and then we go 9th fret on the D string, and then 11 on the A, and then 10 on the A, and then 9 on the A, and then 7 on the A, but then we go 7 on the low E, and then play 7 on the low E for a slide to 9, and then play 9 again on low E. So we got 11, 9, 11, 10, 9, 7, 7, 7, 9, 9. And what can really sound good on that lick is to kind of thicken up that last B to C sharp note with the power chord. So you can kind of do the B5, slide to C sharp, C sharp. So we got 11, 9, 11, 10, 9, 7, 7, 7, slide to 9, 9. So you can kind of throw that in. That breakdown lick kind of happens twice. And then we go into our first solo. And our first solo, actually, one way to kind of work the rhythm part behind that first solo is to kind of do that B to C sharp slide that we were just doing. And if you wanted to, you could fill it in with the down, down, up, down, up. So you'd be doing the B5 as kind of a slide to the C sharp, and then the down, up, down, up, and then keeping that going. So you got B slide to C sharp, down, down, 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 up. Now the solo over the top of that, though, is all working something called a C sharp minor pentatonic scale. It's also called an E major pentatonic scale. But if you want a really easy way to kind of fake your way through some really cool parts of that solo, you could go 9th fret on the low E string and then work the 12th fret on the low E string. So C sharp note and an E note. And then if you go to the 9th fret on the A string, that would be a F sharp note. And then 11th fret on the A string would be a G sharp note. So I'm kind of going 9, 12, 9, 11 on the D string. And then you kind of go to D string 9, 11, and then G string 9, 11, and then B string 9, 12, and then high E string 9, 12. So that's called a C sharp minor pentatonic scale. And And the notes you're actually playing are C sharps and E's and F sharps and G sharps, and then we're playing B's and C sharps. So that's kind of the scale that Tony Iommi is using for that first solo. And what you could do is kind of work a lot of licks around that. Like for instance, you could work hammer-on licks as kind of an idea through that scale. Or you could do pull-off licks through that scale. Or you could work slide licks through that scale. Or you could go find the real tab online, I'm sure. But the cool part about that is what I like to do a lot of times is I'll kind of make up stuff or play a little bit of the solo that I've learned. And then when at the very end, there's this one solo that comes back over and over and over again to kind of end that solo, where you do the 9 to 10 as a hammer-on the D string. And we end up doing that 12 times. So you're going 9, hammer-on 11, 9, hammer-on 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we kind of come out of that back into our breakdown lick. So that whole part that we were talking about for the breakdown. And then you go to kind of the B lick from the chorus, and we do that 4 times. So we do that whole B, B, D, D sharp, D, E, F, F sharp, A sharp, B. So 7, 7, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, B, B. 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, B, B. 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. And then we go back to our verse part. So we're back at the very, very first lick, kind of our intro part. Now, just as an aside though, on that breakdown part, if you wanted to make the chords kind of work in that chords, you could, instead of doing the B5 to C sharp 5 as a slide, you could work a B minor chord to a C sharp minor chord. And this is going to sound a lot thicker. But if you took that shape that we were on for the B minor on 2nd fret and slid it over 2 frets, that would be a C sharp minor chord. So now I've got first finger as a bar across the entire 4th fret, second finger on the B string on the 5th fret, third finger on the D string on the 6th, pinky on the G string on the 6th. And if you strum all those together, that makes a C sharp minor chord. And if you want a smaller version of that, just like the B minor we were talking about earlier, you could do first finger on the high E4, second finger on the B string 5th, third finger on the G string 6th, and kind of play the top 3 strings and get a smaller C sharp minor. Or if you're a little bit more adventurous, you can take the third finger and go to the D string on the 6th fret, pinky on the G string on the 6th fret, and make it a little bit thicker one. So if you wanted to on that part, you could work the whole chord as kind of a slide lick. So you got B slide to C sharp. So B minor with a down, down, up, down, up, B minor slide down, up, down, B minor slide down, up, down, up. I kind of like the power chord part, but that's definitely a possibility through that. And then we're repeating all of that until we get to our after the breakdown part, we go back to our verse part. So we'd be back on the B minor in that kind of our intro lick. And then from that lick, at the very end of that last verse, then we go back to the random B lick. So we're going back to the 7, 7, 5, 7, 6, 5, 5, 5, 4, 5, 6 lick that we were doing right after the first verse. So we got the B, B, D, B, B flat, A, E sharp, and kind of repeating that lick. And then from there, actually, right after that, right after where we get to the psych out, where we got A, then the drums kind of come in with the psh on the hi-hat, and then we actually go back to our intro lick where we had that cool nuts bend down. So we go back to that part, but now instead of doing it 3 times, we just do it 2 times. And then we go into our outro and kind of our last solo part, where at the very, very end, there's some really cool solo licks that come in where you go 7 on the A string and do it as a pull off to 5th fret on the A string, and then hammer on right back to 7th fret on the A string. So I'm kind of going 7, pull off to 5, hammer on back to 7, and then that lick kind of gets reversed, which is kind of cool. You play 5 on the A as a hammer on to 7, and then a pull off back to 5. So we start off with a po-ho lick where we got a pull off hammer on, and then we just end up going to a ho-po lick where we go hammer on pull off, and then we go back to the pull off hammer on lick, and at the very end of that we go D string on the 4th fret and play the 4th fret, and then 5th fret, and then 4th fret, and then 5th fret, and then 4th fret, and then we go A string on the 5th. So we got 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5 on the last part. So you're going to F sharp, G, F sharp, G, F sharp, D. It's kind of the notes in that lick. So all together you're going E, D, E, D, D, E, D, E, F sharp G, F sharp G, F sharp D. It's kind of that lick in between. But chord progression wise, what's really going on is kind of the E5 power chord and then a D5 power chord. But then if you slide that shape down 1 fret to the C sharp on the A string, so now I got first finger on the A, 4, third finger on the D string 6 for a C sharp 5. And then if you take that and slide it down 1 more fret, 3rd and 5th, and that's a C5 power chord. So you got C on the A string on the 3rd fret, G note on the D string on the 5th fret. So that's kind of what the chords behind that lick is, that E5, D5, D sharp 5, C5. And one way to do that is to do that down, down, up, actually, if you're kind of covering the rhythm part. And if you wanted to, you could even leave the low E string in on all of those, actually, and it could sound really good. So you'd have E5 with down, down, up, down, D5, down, down, up, down, C sharp 5, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, E, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, C sharp, down, up, down, C, down, 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 up. So that would be one way to kind of play that part. The implied chords would be doing the E minor, and then a D major, and then the C sharp minor, and then we'd be going to a C major chord. So if you wanted to, you could throw this in. And the way you play C major, first finger goes to the B string on the 1st fret, second finger goes to the D string on the 2nd fret, and third finger on the A string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a C major chord. So if you were strumming through it or wanted to kind of strum through that, you'd have E minor, down, up, down, D major, down, down, up, down, C sharp minor, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, C sharp minor, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, up. And then from there we go into the last solo. And what Tony Iommi uses for that last solo actually is a E minor pentatonic scale. It's one of my favorite pentatonic scales because E minor pentatonic is G's, A's, B's, D's, and E's. So you actually have all the open strings that are part of that scale, because you got a G note and an A note and a B note and a D note and an E note. So if anybody ever asks you to play a pentatonic scale and you strum all the strings, you are absolutely correct, because you're playing 5 note names. Now there's another place to kind of play all those 5 notes though, that we're playing G's, A's, B's, D's, and E's. So if you wanted to, one approach to it is kind of playing it straight across the guitar, and I'm thinking low E string, thick E string to the skinny E string. And if you did that, actually the next G note you'd have on the guitar would be 3rd fret on the low E, and then on the A string you'd have 2nd fret for a B, D string 2nd fret for a E, G string 2nd fret for a B string is 3rd fret for a D note, and then the high E on the 3rd fret is kind of a G note. So you have 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. That's kind of the next piece of pentatonic. And then after that, the next piece is all the 5s, but G is 4. So you're going 5, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5. And then the next piece is all the 7s, but B's 8. And then the next piece is 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10. And then the next piece after that is all the 12s. And then the next piece after that is 15, and then 14, 14, 14, just like 2nd fret and 3rd fret. And then 15 on the B, and then 15 on the high E. And that's kind of a cool guitar thing, is like all the opens are part of it, all the 12s are part of it, because those are where the note names are the same. And actually, like when you go to 3rd fret on the low E string, that's a G note, but 15th fret on the low string is also another G note. So anything over the 12 is kind of starting it over again. So you could kind of work those as single note patterns, or you could put them together. And that same pattern that we were doing for our first solo, the C sharp minor pentatonic, that pattern would actually start from 12th fret on the low E string. So now you'd have 12 to 15 on the low E, and then A string 12, 14, 12, 14 on the D, 12, 14 on the G, 12, 15 on the B string, and then 12, 15 on the high E string. So you got 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15 to kind of play E, G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D, E, G. So you could take all those same lick ideas, like the hammer-ons we were doing, or the pull-offs, or the slides as kind of an idea, or you could take bends as an idea and kind of press up and into the guitar at the same time, and kind of make up a solo, and then at the end you kind of come back to that 7-5-7. So that very last lick for our outro, and then after that lick, then the very end you kind of do a 7-5-7 pull off on the A, and then kind of slide it down into nothing. So you got 7-5-7 slide, kill it. That's kind of that last part. So you got 7-5-7, 5-7-5, 7-5-7. 4 5 4 5 4 5 7 5 7 slide. Kill it. But that's the basics of how you can kind of strum through and work all the licks to Iron Man that they covered out or play along with the recording. So have fun and good luck!